Hi, in this video we are going to see how we can connect to Oracle database from webMethods for different option or different operation. For example, we are going to connect some table called employee table, and we are going to create some record, or we are going to read some record, we are going to update some record, and also we are going to delete some record. So basically we are going to use some CRUD operation in the database table using JDBC adapter service, which is available in webMethods. For this demo, we are going to use version 10.7, which is the latest version. And once we have connected this particular table through different operation via adapter service, finally we are going to expose that as a REST web service from web method, and which we are going to verify from Postman in order to see it is working as expected or not. So this is what we are going to see today. I'll just go to designer now. So what we are going to do is we are going to connect to database. In order to connect to database, I have already created the connection here. As of now, I have only one connection in my integration server, which is pointing to my database. So if you see the connection detail, it's an Oracle database, and it's running in my system with the specific username and password, and database name is ORCL, and port number is 1521. Okay. As of now, this particular database has only one table called employee table, which I'll show by connecting my SQL plus. See here, I'm just going to log in with the same user which I connected or from my web method. See here, Ash as demo user, right? Same user I'm trying to connect from my local system, and password I just entered it, and I'm trying to connect to some Oracle 19C database, and that's 19.3 version. So in this database, I have a table called employee. I'm just seeing what are the records are there in particular table. It has 8 records. If you see this table information, it has 3 fields. One is name, ID, and department. So name is the person name and person's employee ID, and which department that person is working. So we have 3 column and we have 8 records in the particular employee table. So now we are going to connect this particular table in order to fetch this information or update some information or delete information from web method through adapter service. And after that, we are going to expose the same thing via REST, so that we can invoke these operations from REST web services as well. So in order to do that, I'll just go to my designer, which is running in version 10.7, which is connected to our integration server 10.7. So I'm just going to create new package for this particular demo. I'll just create new package. I'll call this as a database REST demo. So this is my package name. I'll just copy this one. I'll click finish, and this one I create a main folder with the same name. I'll click finish. So now the main folder also got created with the same as package name. Now I'm going to create another folder called adapter service. I'm going to keep all my adapter service under this folder, and I'm going to create one more folder called REST, just to keep all my REST services under this folder. So this is a reserved keyword, that's why it's not allowing us to create the folder with particular name. So I'll just create this name as web service folder. I'll click finish. So now first I'll try to concentrate on creating an adapter service first in order to talk to my table. So I'll just create a adapter service. First I'll just create adapter service for getting employee details. Okay, so I'll just get employees. So this is my adapter service. I'll click next. I'm going to connect to my JDBC adapter. I'll just select that, and I have already created this connection. So this connection is my Oracle DB, right? And that's the connection we created here. So this connection name is nothing but my Oracle DB. I'll come to the designer. I have selected the connection now. I'm going to use a select SQL now, because I'm going to select some records from the table, and then I'll click finish. See here, this particular table name, right? So here we have to browse the table name. As of now, this particular database ORCL, which has only one table, which is called employee. That's why the table name is automatically selected. Otherwise, you have to browse and select the required table by clicking these 3 dots. So now this is the table information which I wanted to select, and I'll go to the select tab, and I have to tell what are the fields I wanted to select. I'll just click this one, and then I will click the next one so that it will fill all the fields. See here, it has 3 fields, name, ID and department, which is the one we saw from the SQL Plus as well, name, ID, department. So from the adapter service, we are able to connect to the table. That's why we are able to retrieve the fields from the particular table which is available in the Oracle database under the table name called employee. So now this is the table information which we are going to select the record, and I'll save this one. I'll directly run and see. I'll just go to input output tab, right click. I'll run and see this particular adapter service is working or not. I don't need to pass any input. I'll just click OK. See here, it is giving the results, and it's giving name as Raj and ID is 1002 testing. Similarly, we are getting the results at 0 to, as it is array, it's starting the indexes from the 0. So you have total 8 records. If you look at this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 records are there. So whatever is there in the table, right? 8 rows selected. So all the informations are coming within web method as well. So this is a select service. If I wanted to fetch all the employee data, then I can use this get employees. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use some other adapter service which is called delete employee. For example, I want to delete some employee information. Then I'll just click next. I'll choose the adapter connection type, connection name, and I'll choose the delete SQL, which will help us to delete the specific record from the table. If I wanted to delete some specific record, then I need to tell which record to be deleted. So I need to give some key, right? I need to give some where condition. So that is what I'm going to fill it here, which based on which field I want to delete it. So I'll just specify my ID field, which is nothing but my employee field. I have selected that, and here in the down right, you have to you can change the field name also. For that, I'll just change that with meaningful field name, which is employee ID, and then I'll save this one. For example, if I want to delete something, right, and there is something called result tab. For example, I wanted to see that particular record has been deleted or not. So I can give this some result value or field name here, which will tell the particular table record has been deleted or not. So this is the integer field. So I'll just say result count. For example, if you are deleting only one record, then it will say 1. So now I'll just try to run this again. Run as service. It will ask the employee ID as an input. So if you see the table, there are 8 rows and it has a 1001, 1002. So I'm going to delete this 1008. 1008 name is Rajesh and he is working in a department called testing. I'm going to delete this record. So I'll just give the ID for that one 1008. I'll just run this one with 1008. I'll give OK. See here result count 1, which means it deleted the record from the table. I'll come to my SQL Plus and I'll run the select query again. See here 7 records only available. Earlier 8 records, 7 records only available, and whatever the record which we had with 1008 employee ID, that is not there. See here there is nothing called 1008 with a name called Rajesh. So that is not there, that is got deleted. So we have created adapter service now for deleting the employee as well. Similarly, I'm going to create another 2 service, because what we are doing is we are doing this. So as of now what we have completed is we have completed the get employees and delete employee. Now I'm just going to create this create employee. Okay, so I'll just add adapter service for creating employee. I'll just click next. Adapter, JDBC adapter, my Oracle DB connection, and I'm going to insert something because we are going to create or add some employee information to table. So I'm going to use insert SQL adapter template. I'll click finish. So we are going to insert some information which we need some data, right, to be inserted, which is nothing but these 3 information, which is name, ID, department. I'm going to insert those records. So we need to tell what field you are going to insert. So I'll select the field and then I'll select this one, which will fill all the rows, because when I wanted to fill the information, I wanted to fill entire information. And result, I'll say this is insert count, right? So I'll say insert count and I'll save this one. For example, now I wanted to add this data. I'll run this service, run service. See here name, ID, department, which I can feed it from the adapter service now. I'll give the name as different name now. I'll give it like I'll just give it like William, and I'll just give ID as 1008 only for this one, and I'll just say department as IT. I'll just give OK. See here, insert count is 1, which means this record got inserted successfully to the table. I'll come to the SQL plus. I'll run this one. See here, there are 8 records now. Earlier 7 records, now 8 records. William got added with 1008 with department name called IT. So this one is telling us the whatever the employee information we created using this create employee service, which inserted successfully to the table. So now what we have done, so we have done this create one. So only thing is pending is update. So I'm going to create the update service now. New adapter service, update employee. For example, you wanted to update some information. For example, we have a name, ID, department, right? I want to update the department information for the specific employee. Then we can use this update employee to update the particular employee record. I'll just click finish and select the connection name. Now we are going to use update, right? So I'll choose update SQL template. I'll click finish. So we are going to update something, so we can update any information, right? So I'll select all the fields again for this service, and then where condition, I don't want to update all the record. I wanted to update only specific record. So I'll just give a where condition, and I'll just give a ID field here, and I'll just name this field with meaningful name employee ID. So for example, if I wanted to update some information based on the where condition, then I can update the specific record. For example, now I'm selecting the employee record, so we will update some different records. If you look at this record, employee ID 1007, which is having a name as Shankar and department as DevOps. This particular record, I'm just going to change DevOps to testing. So how do we do it? I'm going to run this input service. I'm going to run this service, and I'm just going to say name, same name only I'm going to keep it. ID, I'll just say 1007, right? And department, I'm going to update that as a testing. Currently it is there as a DevOps, and employee ID is 1007. I'll just give OK. See, update employee count is not coming. Maybe I have not given that in a result. See here, I have not given the result, but it's a only thing is we didn't give it in a output, but it might have updated the record. I'll go to the SQL plus. Earlier it is DevOps. I'll try to run the employee. You'll be able to see Shankar 1007. It updated with testing, which means from adapter service it executed successfully. If you want some result field, then you can give it like update count, right? I'll save this one. I'll run it again. I will update with a different value now. Run as flow service. Instead of testing, I'll just put this as a security team. Okay, so I'll just say IT security team, and then I'll give OK. Now if you see, update count is saying 1, which means it's inserted successfully, or sorry, it's updated successfully. I'll just go to the SQL plus. I'll run it again. You'll be able to see 1007 record. It's updated with the department called IT security team. So this way we have updated as well. So now we have CRUD operation. C for create, R for read write, which is a get employee, and U for update employee, D for delete employee. So all CRUD operation is done as per this particular one. So we have done this 4 things using adapter service. Now what we are going to do, so we are going to expose these adapter services. We are going to expose these adapter services as a REST service. So how we do it? So I am going to create a REST service here. New, there is something called REST resource. So this is 10.7. In the earlier version, whatever you create, right, the UI it will be different, and also the REST, the older version got deprecated. So now whatever you do, it's with the latest REST v2 version, and in the previous version like webmethod 10.5, you can still create a older way of creating, and also the version 2 also you can create it. So now from the 10.7 onwards, you can create only the REST v2 version only you can create it. So whatever we're doing right now, it's a version v2. So the REST resource name, what I'll give it, I'll just give it like a employee. So we are going to create a REST resource name as a employee under the web service folder. I'll just click next, and here empty resource is there and document type based REST resource is there. I'll just give empty REST resource and generate JSON API URL templates and click finish. So now if you look at this one, this got created automatically, which has our URL template, which is having employee, get, post, delete, patch, everything is there. So if you look at this one, it's not having other operation like put method and other method. If you want that, you can add, and then you can select the checkbox, head or put, whatever you need it, you can add that as well. As of now, we will only explore these things. So first one is employee, just to retrieve all employee information, which is by default it is mapped to this service. Under the web service employee underscore services, it created this empty services as well under the services folder. So what will happen is when someone invokes this employee resource using get method, it will invoke this get all employees. So whatever it is available under this flow service, right, under this folder, whatever it is there, it is automatically created when we create the REST resource. So for example, get employees, if you open, it will be empty. So here you can call your adapter service. So now I'll just go and see what else is there in this REST resource. One is getting all employee information and other one is getting employee based on some specific ID. And employee post, this is like creating a employee information. This is, if we pass ID, it will delete specific employee information. And there's a patch using which you can update some specific resources as well. So all these, it automatically created some flow service which is empty, which we can use it to write to call our actual service, which will do the actual insert to the table. So now first I'll try the get all employees. So for this one, I'm going to invoke this get employee service because we invoked this one earlier. I'll try to run this also now just to show what was the result, right? It will give all the employee data. See here, all the employee data. There are 8 records that is getting displayed here. We are going to invoke this adapter service from this get employees. As of now, this get employee is empty. Go to input output tab. It's empty because we are going to get all the employee data without any input. Okay. So now I'm just going to call this adapter service. So how do I do it? I'll just click insert, invoke. I'm going to call my adapter service, which is available in this adapter service folder. Click get employees, click OK. So now in the pipeline, this is the output it's coming, get employee output, right? So now if you wanted to map this with some data, right, with a proper format or any other information, right, which you can map as well. For example, I wanted to map that with some meaningful structure. Then for example, I wanted to map this as a employees. I'll just copy this one. I'll paste it and I'll just call this as a employees. Okay. Then this employee output, the result, right, I'll just map it to this employees. 1 minute. I'll minimize this error document and I'll map this results to I'll maximize this one. I'll just select this employees and this results and I'll map it. So I mapped it. So this is my output document, which I'll copy and I'll put it into this input output tab. So that whenever we invoke this particular service via REST, we will get this result set, which will give this employees as well. So now how I invoke this service. So now what we have done is the first line we have done. If somebody invoked through employee as a resource endpoint, it will, if we invoke through get method, then it will call this particular service, which is get all employees. So when it invoke this one, it comes here. Here what we are doing, we are calling adapter service, and whatever its results coming from the adapter service, which we are mapping to the employee structure. Okay. So that is what it's going to come. And if I don't want any other things, right? I can drop that as well. For example, I don't want this get employees output, I'll drop it, and output and error also I'll drop it. Okay, I'll save this one now. So I am not dropping that, and it's part of the rest output itself. I'm going to keep anyway employees. Now we are going to run and see this output from external world. So for example, if you go to this PowerPoint again, so we are going to invoke it from the source. It could be your mobile app or any other legacy application or any websites, right? Which is going to invoke as a REST option. So now in order to try that, I'm going to try that from the Postman application. So I'll go to the Postman. So I'm going to invoke a get only, because this one, if you look at our resource endpoint, it's a get method. The first one is get method, and the URL template, the resource endpoint name is employee. So I'll open Postman, and my application is running in 5555. So web method 10.7 I have installed in my local, which is running in 5555 port. And if you wanted to invoke REST version 2 web service, right, or REST web service in 10.7, you have to give a directive called REST v2. In the older version, you might have given REST or REST v2 if you have used 10.5. In the previous version, you might have given a directives only till REST. In 10.7, as it is a version 2, you have to give REST v2. And then in the previous version, we used to give a complete namespace after REST. Now we don't need to give that. For example, if your employee, if resource endpoint is employee, then you can give that as well. So I'm just going to give employee, and I'm just going to send it, because if we give get method with this employee, it's going to call this one, and this one internally, it's going to talk to your database, and it's going to fetch all employee records. Let's see. I'll try to run. It will fail with access denied, because this service I need to pass some credential. I'll just pass administrator manage, which is default. But in the real case, we will be setting our web service with the actual ACL, and that ACL will assign to specific user, and we need to use specific user in order to access specific web services. So for now, I'll just give administrator manage, and I'll just click send. See here, output, it's coming as a HTML format. You can go to this preview view, you can see it in a HTML format. But if I wanted to see that in a REST format, in the headers, you can give accept. I wanted to accept my response as a JSON format. So I'm just giving accept as a header, and I want that as a application/JSON. I'll click send. Now if you look at this one, you'll be able to see the raw data, you'll be able to see the results. So I'm just click the pretty option, and you are able to see the employees, which is array, which is giving all the records. So as of now, there are 8 records. That's why all the, if I check name, right, you'll be able to see 8 record, which is coming from your table. So this way you can invoke this, our web method service through REST option. So now this is to retrieve all the employee data. For example, I wanted to retrieve only 1001. So how do I do it? So you can pass it like /1001, click send. It will not give any output because we didn't write any code for that. So how do we do it? So this is just like a passing a value in a URI parameter as a ID. So for this one, how do we do it? We'll go to designer again. So this one, get employees by UID. So I'll just go to this REST resource. What we are going to try is the second one, which is we are passing the ID value in the URI parameter itself. So this is get method, and it will go to this service. So now what we are going to do is we are going to call as ID, and it's going to call this service where we are going to write a logic. So now what I'm going to do is we are going to call that particular service which we already have written, right? So we have written this one, but this will return all the data. So I wanted to return specific data. So then what I need to do, I have to create another service where I have to limit based on where condition. So I'll just write another adapter service. I'll name this as a get employee by ID. So basically we are going to write a similar adapter service with a select, but we are going to pass a where condition. Select SQL, click finish, and table name is already selected, and go to select, and again same thing, I wanted to select all the fields. Earlier we didn't give any where condition, so here I wanted to give a where condition for a employee ID. So I'm just going to map this one. I'll save this one. So for example, if I wanted to run this one, run as a service, employee ID 1001, and it will give only the specific result for 1001. See here, it's giving only the one record is coming because we are matching with the specific ID in a where condition. So the same thing we have to do it here. So I'll just copy that service here, invoke, and I'll just go to the adapter service, get employee by ID, go to pipeline. So the source will send ID in the URL itself. So that we need to map it to our adapter service, which will give this result. So this result is nothing but our employee structure. Okay, so I wanted to have a employee structure, or I'll just go to, so this is the result, right? I'll just copy this one and I'll paste it. I'll just call this as a employee, and I'll map this results to here, and I'll just drop the one which is not required. So this output I need it, so I'll just copy and I'll put it into my output tab as well. So I'll save this one. So now if I wanted to run this one, run as flow service, and I'll just pass 1001 as an input, and you'll be getting a employee result as 1001. So this is what I want to show. Now we are going to try that, right? So if you go and see this one, pipeline ID is mapped, and this will give us a result, right? So now how we are going to try the same thing from our Postman. Earlier it was not giving any result. Now we have written a logic when somebody is passing a value as ID here, then what we have told, if anybody is using a get method with ID here, call this service. So this service, what it's doing internally, it's calling adapter service in order to fetch the specific record. In the adapter service we are getting where condition where we are passing this value, so that it can retrieve only the specific value which is matching with this employee ID. Now I'll try to run this one. Earlier it didn't give the result because we didn't have any code. Now I'll try to run. It will give the employee. See here, 1001 the value is coming. So for example, I wanted to give 1005, and I'll just send it. 1005 record will come, and if I give 1008, then 1008 record will come, William, which we have added recently. So this way you can fetch specific record. So what we have tried so far, we have tried get all employees and get employee by UID. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some record. I'm going to insert some record. So for that we are going to call this create employee, which we already written. I'll invoke a flow service. Invoke, I'm going to invoke our insert employee or create employee web service. So the input, right, it's ID field, but when we wanted to insert, we wanted to give all three field value, right, which we need to update. Go back to employee here and attribute configuration. Here we can add additional field. So here I'm going to do, we are going to add a name, the person name. Okay, so the next one is I wanted to add a department as well. So now I added it, and I'll save this one. It's saying the JSON API URL, it's auto generated. I'll just give OK. It's asking me to refresh. I'll just give OK, and then I'll just refresh. I just refreshed it. So now you just come to add employee. See the input. It will have all the three fields. Earlier we had only ID field. Now we have added these two fields, so that when we wanted to send the data, right? When I wanted to send the data, then this data we can map it to our create service. So now I will map to my adapter service ID, name. The left side, whatever you see, it's going to come from your source, and that one we are trying to map that to our adapter service. So we are trying to insert it. So when we insert it, we are getting this insert count as well, which I wanted to give it in a I'll create this as a separate field. I'll say insert count. I'll just map this value, and I don't want this one. I'll drop this one. I'll save this one. So now what we are doing is we are trying to do a insert. So whenever somebody doing insert, right, if you come here, now what we are trying to do is a third one. It will come as an employee post method. As it's a post method, the entire payload will come in a raw data. So it will come as a payload in a body as a JSON, which we will receive it, and whatever we receive it in a JSON, we are going to map it here, and which in turn it's going to talk to table to insert the values through adapter service, and then it's going to give a insert count. Now I'll go to this one. As it's a post method, we have to give a post here, and our IP localhost 5555, and again rest v2 and employee. Okay, so now this content, right, whatever I'm going to pass, that is a application/JSON. I'll give that, and then I have to pass the username and password as well, which I will pass it as a basic authentication. And body, I'll just click raw and I'll select JSON. Here I'm going to pass that the entire structure, so which is nothing but input colon and then it's object, and it has 3 fields: ID colon, and I'm going to pass some new information. So for how many records we have? We have 8 records. Okay, I'm going to insert another record called I'm going to insert some 9th record. So I'll just keep this value as 1009 comma, and next field name is in our input name department, all are small case. I'll try to give that data name comma, I'll just give this as a some name. I'll just give tech lightning, and then I'll just give comma. Here the colon is missing, I'll add it, and last field is department colon, and value is, I'll just say department as testing department. Okay, so this way, this is the input structure. I'm going to run this one. See here the output is coming null and it's giving 200. Looks like whatever the field we have added, right, in the add employee output field, see here we didn't add it, so that's why the insert count is not coming. So that we will add it after this, but again as it is inserted with 200, I'm going to see from my SQL plus. Earlier there are 8 records. Now we have added one more record with Tech Lightning as a name and 1009, right? I'll just see here 9 records, Tech Lightning name 1009 and testing team. That's got added now, which is through web service we have done it. Only thing is output is not coming. So if you wanted to check that, because output we need to define it, which you have not defined it. So I wanted to copy this insert count field. Okay, I'll just copy and I'll just give an input here. I'll save this one. For example, I wanted to insert one more record, which is 1010, and I'll just say this name as lightning, and this department I'll say IT, and I'll click send. Insert count, it's coming null because again this is, I have defined that field as a string and other one as a object. So now I'll just remove this and I will create in the same data type. I'll save this one first and I'll copy this one and I'll paste it, insert count, and I'll remove this string value and I'll try to paste this value. So now, so how many records are there? Earlier 9 and 10 records are there because I added this one. So now I'll add one more record just to see this value is coming properly or not. I'll say this 1011 and I'll say name as Subhash and I'll say department as testing. I'll click send. See here the insert count is 1 now, which got inserted. So 1011 I'll just go and see the table. It should be 11 records. See here, and whatever the record we have added, this is the one we have added it. So now what we have verified? So we have verified the create one. So through REST we have passed some data which in turn talk to database and inserted some record. So now we tried the first one, read one we tried, delete also we tried. So the one which we have to try is update. Delete we have tried or not, I'm just checking. Delete we didn't try. So far what we have tried is the get one, the normal one, to fetch all the records, which if I run this one it will give all the 12 records or all the 11 records. Is it 11 records? If I check this department it will give 11, and then we check the employee based on the ID. Now we tried the post as well. So what we tried, then the first one and second one only so far we tried. Update and delete we didn't try. So I'm going to try delete now. Delete, and delete we need to pass the ID. So for example I wanted to pass 1011, and I'll just go and write the code first in the designer. If you go here, delete employee by UID, right? If you pass the ID, it has to delete the record. So here I'll invoke this delete employee which we already written. Insert, invoke, because already we have written with the where condition to delete the particular employee record using this adapter service. Only thing is now from REST we have to call and we have to map this ID field to employee field. And similarly if you wanted to map this result count, then you can map it and you can keep that value in your output as well. I'll copy this one, I'll keep it in my output, and I'll just go to tree and the pipeline. I'll drop this, the one which is not required. Okay, so now this will help us to delete specific employee. So now I'm going to run this with the delete method with 1011. So 1011 is this bash 1011 testing is there, right, which I'm going to delete it. I'll click send. See here result count is 1 is coming, and I'll just go to the table. Earlier 11 rows were 11 records are there. I'll just run it. You will be able to see 10 records only because the 1011 got deleted now. From with the help of REST service we have deleted the record in table. So now the only pending thing is what we need to try is this update one, because other 4 services already we have written a code to handle that. Update is empty, but adapter service we already written in order to update the record. I'll just call that one, invoke adapter service update employee. Here again we are going to update some information, so it could be any of this information, correct? So I'll just map that ID. Anyway, in case of update we are going to pass that in our URL itself. So that's the ID which I'll give here, or which I'll give it here, because the employee ID is the one which we are doing a where condition. And again if I wanted to update any of this information, then I can pass that value in order to update. And again update count I wanted to have it as an output. I'll just copy that. I'll map that value. And then whatever is not required I'll drop it. Okay, I dropped that. Now what I'll do, I'll just try to run this one. Okay, so I'll just go to the postman. So now what we are going to do is you come to employee. So we are trying the patch one now. So we did all the 4 already, the first 4. The last one we are trying patch. So I'm going to give patch method. I'll open a new window. I'm going to give a HTTP method as patch. My URL is localhost 5555 and directive is rest v2 and endpoint as employee. And here you see patch, you need to pass the ID here. So I'll pass some ID, which record we can update it. I do a select again, 10 records are there. I'll just see 1010 I'll update it. Currently department is IT, which I'll change it to some admin team. Okay, so 1010 I'm going to update with admin. So here we need to pass 1001, and authorization it should be authenticated. So I'll already given a administrator manage. Headers, because we are going to update based on some JSON value, so I'll pass content type, so which will tell what data type we are going to send the content. which is nothing but application/json. In the body, raw data, I'm going to pass it as a JSON data again, right? So we need to pass a similar structure what we have used in a post. I'll try to take the same sample, body post method. So I'll just see it from the left side. So what I have tried is I'll take the content. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is in the patch I'm going to paste the same content. I'll expand this further. So patch, we have seen it's to update a specific resource. For example, we are going to update some content. Better we'll see it from here what content we can update. So better we'll update this 1006 Kannan, which is having a department. Okay, so we wanted to update earlier. Okay, so we will take a different record. So we'll take this 1006. Okay, 1006 data assigns to some other value. We'll update it. I'll update this value to admin team. So 1006 is my employee ID. So I'll pass 1006 here, and I'll just keep the ID as 1006 only. Name as of now Kannan. I'll just give Kannan only, and department alone I'll update it. Instead of data science, I'll update as a admin team. I'll try to send the request now. So here again I didn't give that update count in the output, that's why it's not coming, but again it executed successfully. So we'll go and see from here. So without running Kannan data science, right? Now I'll run it again. See here, Kannan admin team. So it got updated. So how we updated? We use a patch where we pass the ID, which in turn invoke this one because we passed a patch method with the ID, which in turn invoke this update employee by UID, where we call this adapter service where we pass all the value in order to update the data. So only thing is I didn't copy this update count in our input output tab. So that's why that was not coming. So I'll save this one. So now I'll update a different record. For example, I'll take this first record, Raj 1002, right? I'll try to update that record. I'll pass 1002 patch method. I'll update 1002. As of now, name is Raj, right? I'll just add that as Arul. Is there any Arul is there? Already Arul is there. So I'll just give Arul Raj, and instead of IT team, currently the Arul, 1 minute, I'm just checking which record we are updating. So we are updating 1002, right? The first record, which is Arul. Raj is there, which I'm going to update as Arul Raj, and testing is there, which I'm going to update as admin team. Okay, I'll try to run it. You'll be able to see if the record is updated successfully. You will get an update count, and come and run the select query. You'll be able to see the name got updated and department also got updated. So this way you can use a patch as well. So what we have done today, we have created a resource endpoint called employee, and that had the supported method get with, in order to get all the details, get by specific ID, post to create the record, and delete to delete the specific record, patch to update some specific resource ID. So for specific resource we wanted to update some information, so that is also we have tried it. So what we have done, whatever it is there in the table, we have exposed as a different method. In order to achieve that, we have created different adapter service using JDBC adapter service, and finally we expose everything as a REST. So this way you can expose any backend services through REST from webMethods. Hi, thank you for watching this video so far. If you like the video, please share it with your friends, and also subscribe to this Tech Lightning channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.